What's up, guys? I'm Jack. This is Kurt. And we're going to try and make a podcast. I've got no idea how it's going to go. We're just going to... The idea originally was I wanted to make a podcast and I wanted to do something that was like super chill and super like relaxed and like not serious and stuff. So I just thought, I'll see if Kurt fancies it. And he said, yeah. And now and then I bought some chairs as well.
Now we're here.
Yeah, now we're here. I've got some fake plants. I've got some chairs, dogs on me, and we're going to just wing this and see where this goes.
This is the same room from the Ash streams, if those of you who watch Jack's channel.
Yeah, and I've proper messed up as well, because, so I bought these chairs for the podcast, and I thought it'd be a really smart thing to do, and it looked really clever. And I saw them online, and I was like, yeah, that'll do. They were like 60 quid each. So I saw them online, and I went to go pick them up, and I was like, Jesus Christ, these are massive. They're like so big. So I've like got to like move. I can get around it by. Oh, Luna's coming to you. I can get around it by flipping a chair up because you can still access the dartboard, but I need to put that one like in the doorway. But yeah, all that just for a little podcast. So yeah, the idea of this is just to just chat about stuff and like without it being too serious. Without it being like too over the top, and just see where we go. So I thought let's start off with darts in like the last week, like what we've been doing, because you've started playing Super League. You played in the tournament at the weekend as well. I played in the tournament. Mine was a lot smaller than yours. But how did you get on in your stuff?
So yeah, Super League started 2 weeks ago tomorrow. Started off, lost 4-1. Average like 19, didn't play very well. And then this week, or last week now, really struggled, to be honest. I think I've got a bit of shoulder and like elbow pain. I think it's golfer's elbow, self-diagnosed, as people do. Google search and it tells you you're going to die or something. And I just couldn't let go of the dart. Like, everything was like snatchy. I was like using my whole body to like push the dart forwards. And I had stuff go off the board. I averaged like 15 or something. It was terrible. I still got 2 legs. Went 2-all, and then the bloke chucked in like a 17 dart out of nowhere. Completely saved his average, but yeah. And then Saturday, got through the group stage just about. Someone lost 3-0, which put me through.
Oh, really? Because me and Bobs were looking at the draws and stuff, and she read your name out, and I was like, actually, I quite fancy him to get out of that. Yeah,
it was, to be honest, again, didn't play very well. Lost 3-1 to the person who then lost 3-0 and went out.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so I think all they needed was a leg to get out of the group, and they just lost 3-0. I was like, wow, that's unbelievable.
Yeah, because I must admit, I have a like really physical job, so I sometimes find that if I get an injury, it really does mess my throat up for a bit, and I totally understand where you're coming from. Like, I remember it was my birthday. This was like 2 years ago, so it was my 28th birthday, and I had to climb, and I remember looking at this branch and thinking, yeah, I can hold that. That'd be fine. So I grabbed hold of the branch, cut it, and then I sort of like, you let it swing down and hold it so you can control it and then throw it. But this branch was just far too big, and like proper like it messed up my shoulder, my elbow, my wrist, like everything else was just like almost like being pulled out of its socket. But yeah, and then after that, that took me weeks, maybe even months to like throw normally again. Yeah. So that just proper messed me up. But I played in the tournament. Mine was a 15-man tournament. Yours was an 80-man tournament. And mine was
78. First time for a while. There's been a couple of people drop out.
Yeah, I really wanted to go to it as well, but we were away. But yeah, I played in a tournament last week, and I've not played in a tournament in a while. There was only 15 players, and I did get the one bye into the quarters.
Oh, nice.
So first game I played someone who should have lost first round comfortably and didn't. It was a game like no one is gonna know who played who. But basically, Dickie played against someone who he should never have lost to in a million years. And I had to play the winner, so I was like, crap, I'm gonna have to play Dickie. And he just lost. Yeah. And I was like, wow, okay, that's almost a free buy. And for me to say that, that's going some way. And then I played another guy, Colin Houghton in the semis, beat him 2-1. I actually played alright against him. And then I lost in the final, and the final was so shit. It was like awful. Such a bad game of darts. But I think I drunk so much as well. I was quite pissed. So happens.
Yeah. Was that the one on the Friday?
Yeah, that was one. Yeah, it's supposed to be like our team and the other team were just gonna join up and just have a tournament. But yeah, we only had 2 players from ours, but they managed to get like 13 over. Yeah. I won £12.
Decent.
That's my record breaking amount of money I've ever won in darts.
Nice.
The most I've ever won before that was £4. That was a loss in a tournament, in the final of a tournament. I got £4 for it.
I think I see loads of people on Twitter. I'm not like putting these people down because some of them are good darts players, but they go to like tournaments that are just held in pubs, like one board, like 8 people, and they'll pick up like £20. And I'm like, why do we have none like that round here?
Yeah,
like just
round
like
here.
turn up to a pub on like a midweek, few people, like 8 people. They all chuck like a couple of quid in. Winner wins like £20 or like whatever. And it's just like we don't really have that round here. It's just like big tournaments. It's literally what it is. I think, or like your league tournaments where you don't win money.
Yeah, I think the closest we ever got to that round here was those Morton Hall tournaments after lockdown.
Yeah,
they were so much fun because no one was really travelling, so it was only the players that lived near where we were playing.
Yeah,
that were coming to them tournaments.
I was probably travelling the furthest, and I literally just lived the other side of town. And that's like, but that's the thing. If you put like £2 in, and it's like pays out to like the 2 finalists, like winner and runner up, people aren't going to want to travel from like one town to the other unless they want like a bit of match practice. Yeah. But like outside of that, like yeah, we just have like big tournaments around here. That's all we have. Which is nice. It's nice to have regular, like, big tournaments. But I think sometimes it would be nice just for, like, confidence sometimes, just to play people who you know are, like, a bit more on your level. Whereas sometimes you turn up to a big tournament, you get put in a group of, like, 4 really good players, and you're like, well, wasted a tenner.
I know.
Although it is a good day out, so.
Yeah, I do feel like that sometimes. I see the group, and I've got like, Jack Maynard's in my group, and then, like, someone else who's really good.
There was a really good group on Saturday.
That was Jack Maynard and Gary Butcher.
Jack Maynard, Gary Butcher, Josh Church, obviously plays County. Gav.
Oh yeah, Gav, 2 Gavs.
Yeah, and everyone just like heard the group. Like, you know when you get like 5 names read out or 4 names read out and you're like, ooh, like big group. Yeah, it was one of those.
Yeah. Right, let's start pissing some people off. Fallon Sherrick hit a 9 darter.
Oh, nice.
Was it televised or was it not? My personal opinion of this is you have to claim it as televised because it's on TV.
Yeah. Even if no one watches the TV channel.
Yeah, I feel like you have to claim it. I need to speak to the Sporty TV, whatever it is.
Sporty Stuff TV.
And just say, look, Wednesday nights, 7 till 9, give us a slot, me and Ash, when we stream.
Yeah. It's, what I don't understand about, like, there's like these channels pop up all the time, and they sort of come around every couple of years, and they'll just invest. I don't know if they, like, pay for this stuff, or, like, if companies who have like no TV coverage use it as like absolute desperation to get on TV. So I assume there must be some sort of like grant you must get for like going on TV, like or whatever, I don't know. Or it's like bigger chance of sponsorships, or like you can like Modus are sponsored obviously by like Red Dragon. They say, oh, we're going to be on TV. Can we have a bit more money?
Yeah, because
I don't know how it works.
It can't be that difficult to add a channel to the.
No, not nowadays.
It can't be difficult. You just got to have a bit more server space, I guess. But I guess it's done on a server. I've got no idea how television's done.
I think a lot of people's argument for that televised 9 darter was like there was no crowd, but like at the end of the day, the description is televised. It's not like 9 darter in front of a crowd.
Yeah,
and it makes sense because basically every darts event is televised in front of a crowd. So I kind of get that argument. And would she have hit it if she was in front of a big crowd? I mean, changes the pressure situation, I guess. But she's good enough to hit one with a crowd. It's whether it would have happened that one time because you don't know what goes through. I mean, the best I've got is 7 into a 9. If I got to that 8th one, I don't know what I'd be thinking, to be honest. I think I'd probably have to wait about 5 minutes just to calm down enough to throw one dart, I think. But
yeah, I went 7 once when I was 17. I'm now 30, so that was 13 years ago. I went 7 in, and I missed the 19, but I hit the treble 3, and then I just went for it anyway because I was like, well, whatever. So I hit the double 12, and I couldn't throw a dart for about an hour after that. I remember I was up where we play darts, up a club with Colin Green, an old boy who I play with quite a lot, and I hit the double 12, obviously missing the 19, so it didn't matter anyway. But then I was like, Colin gone nuts. He was like, I can't believe you just done that. I like literally pulled my darts out of the board. I rang my mum and I was like, Mum, you never believe what I've just done. I've just missed the treble 19 on a 9 dart or whatever. And then I tried to throw again, and I just like my hands all over the place.
That's one thing with like professional darts players. Like they can hit if I hit a big checkout in a game, my next visit's guaranteed to be like 26. Like,
I say what annoys me the most, and I do this all the time. So when you're at tournaments, it's nearest a bullseye, hit a bullseye or a 25, and then your first 3 darts you score less than a bullseye or the 25.
oh yeah.
I've done that so many times, especially the bullseye. You hit a lovely ball, get the start, and then you go 45. I was better off just throwing a bullseye and having that as my score.
I don't know if you've ever done this, but like you play someone who's really good and you win the bullseye against them, and for some reason in your brain it's like, done all right there. I played against Nathan Potter on Saturday and won the bullseye. He hit a 20. He threw first, hit a 25. I threw, hit a 25. Then I threw, hit a bullseye. And then he missed. I think he hit a 25 or missed. And I was like, oh, got like the advantage of legs. At the end of the day, it makes no difference at all because he's such a good player. But like in my brain, I'm like, oh yeah, won the throw. Like got first throw. First leg, I done alright to be fair, but then he went into professional player mode basically and smashed me up. But yeah, it's weird the bullseye thing, I think, sometimes. Because, like, at our level of darts, if you play someone who's, like, even like, similar ability, any of you could throw, like, a couple of terrible scores in a row, and that just, like, renders it null and void. So, like, it's a weird... You have to do it, obviously, 'cause you can't just say, oh, you chuck up first, unless you're in, like, a really casual game. But, like, yeah, it's just irrelevant. Unless you're, like, professional standard, I think. Makes no difference.
Yeah, so today, actually... The calendar for the new seasons come out today. So if you want to have a look at it, it is on like the PDC website and stuff. But one thing you noticed was that the Players' Championships are no longer on the weekends.
Yeah.
Was that the same for all of them?
Yeah, every Pro Tour Players' Championship event is midweek. So that, I mean, I think I haven't looked at the specific dates because they just say the date and not the day. But I think, like, I imagine some of them are probably going to be like Wednesday, Thursday, Euro Tour Friday, if it's in Germany. I think some of them have been this year. I think the most recent ones were Wednesday, Thursday, Euro Tour Friday. But even the ones in the UK, I know not all tour card holders are in the UK, but even the ones in the UK I think are like Wednesday, Thursday or Thursday, Friday. And it's a weird move. I don't know why they've done it because they haven't filled the gaps elsewhere. The only thing I can think of is if they're just trying to create more space between events, because I think sometimes it's like one weekend after the other.
Yeah, I'm looking at the first one, and it's in Leicester, which I don't think they've gone to Leicester in a while. 19th, 20th, 21st, including the European Tour qualifier, in February next year, and that's a Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. That's like proper random. That is. Like you'd think that would make it a lot more difficult for like the lower down players because not only have you now got to take 4 or maybe even 5 days off work to play instead of like 1 or 2, and then playing the weekend. Yeah, you've got to do it all whilst not being at work as well. Yeah,
and I think that's where the PDC, obviously being owned by Matchroom, I think they're going to go in the direction of snooker where there's like a minimum payout. I think snooker players get like 20,000 a year, but that's PDC's free entry. I'm not sure about snooker for their events, but like that basically just covers if you turn up at an event and lose in the first round, you get X amount of money, and that's based on turning up to every event that you can possibly. So I imagine it's like if you turn up to the Pro Tour, Euro Tour might be different, but if you turn up to a Pro Tour and lose first round, you're guaranteed like 500 quid. So if you say you play 3 days worth of a Pro Tour or 2 days worth, you get $1,000, which probably covers more than 2 days work, but it probably covers you like hotel and stuff. So it works if that's going to be the case. If not, then you can see a lot of players dropping out, especially when Pro Tour goes to Germany and you get someone say, it's an example because I know what he does for a job, but Stephen Burton, who's a window cleaner, works for himself, has his own company. Is he really going to go, oh, I'm going to have to take 2 days off work and travel out to Germany for nothing? If I lose he's good enough to win a couple of games, but like if he was in a bad run of form or loses 2 games, he's lost out on 2 days worth of work.
Yeah, I've made this point. I've made this point quite a few times on Twitter that I think the people who lose in the first round should get something for turning up, and I just get slated. People have got such an opinion on that, saying, "Oh, you can't pay out losers. People are going to turn up and they're not going to want to win anymore because they're already getting paid." I'm like, that's not how it works.
No, and at the end of the day, the PDC is it's in the name, Professional Darts Corporation. It's a professional organisation, and even if paying out losers 500 quid or like 300 quid for losing first round is not going to pay someone's yearly salary, but it's enough to maybe make them commit a bit more to the events. Because you look at Jim Williams, he went to Champion of Champions instead of going to a Pro Tour where you don't even win any money unless you win the whole thing, and it's a best of 3 event.
Yeah.
Whereas he could have turned up to the Pro Tour and played. He had 2 chances to win like $1,000 just by winning like 1 game basically. And he also went to UKDA Magic Weekend or Champions Weekend, whatever it was, for like Super League instead of going to the Pro Tour. I think he's probably a unique story where he probably just doesn't want to be on the Pro Tour anymore. I think he's one of those who just likes a weekend away, going to like, WDF events and just travelling out and being with his mates, which is fine because he probably knows he'll make a decent amount of money doing that. But I think this is where now the PDC have to go, okay, if you want to be on the tour, we'll give you a certain amount of money, but you have to commit to get that money. We can't just say, okay, you get a tour card, we'll pay you $10,000 for the year. You have to turn up to every event to get that money.
Yeah, I do think that makes sense. And yeah, what you said about Jim Williams as well. I've seen loads of people on Twitter when he went to that, what was it, the Champions event. He went to that, and loads of people just like, people lose their mind on Twitter.
Yeah.
They properly lose their mind. And I do like Twitter. I must admit, I really like Twitter. But some people just like relax. It's not the end of the world.
At the end of the day, he's lost out on money. You can't get angry at someone for not wanting to do something.
Yeah, I think the only thing people were annoyed about was that he had qualified for the event and then no-showed, causing a bye.
Yeah, Euro Tour.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that was the thing that annoyed most people. I can understand that, but yeah, people on Twitter.
I think the funny one was, I think it was the first time he done it. He dropped out of an event and said he was injured, and then he went and won like the UKDA warm-up singles or something, and like everyone was like, "Is that the actual Jim Williams?" Who's and there was a picture of him on the UKDA's Facebook, like holding his little trophy up, and it's like, well, he's not injured, is he?
Yeah,
but you've got that decision. I think he won a tour card through the Challenge Tour, I think, if I'm right. So, I mean, you can decline it, but I think he probably thought, well, I'll give it a go because the WDF's in the mud. So, and then he's sort of done a year of it and gone, nah, not for me. So, can't blame him. He'll probably drop off the tour, I imagine, at the end of this year and then go and play in the WDF and ADC and make a load of money, probably more than what he does on the Pro Tour. So,
yeah, I mean,
the
ADC nowadays, it's proper annoying that we don't have a good ADC thing around here.
Yeah, they set one up, didn't they, last week?
Yeah,
on a Tuesday, and they closed it off because they realised it was Super League night.
Yeah.
But apparently there is another one that's being set up on a different day, apparently. But
yeah,
they're also only limited to 24 players, I think, or 32.
Is it?
Yeah, because obviously you can't have like 80 people turn up for a one-night midweek tournament, which makes sense, but also you've got to try and open things up, I think. I think there needs to be more local tournaments that are sort of set like the Vault, because I think the Vault is specific ADC, whereas you can do a tournament and be ADC affiliated and get points. But I think if you have like a standard sort of ranking system based on ADC almost set up events, because some places people have like local events and they can get really high in the rankings just purely because they go to loads of events and they win a few games, and some people go to like 1 or 2 events and get like a couple of ranking points. I think we saw it this weekend in there was a couple of like finals weekends where you qualify for the Modus. There were people who were like pretty high ranked, and they sort of played people who were from the same area but not in the same area effectively, like same county, and they sort of got a bit mismatched because of where the rankings were. And I think that's maybe something they have to look at. I don't think you can really regionalise it much more, but just something so it's a bit of a fairer ranking system. Obviously, it makes sense because you can't just say, oh, I've gone to like 2 events because there's only 2 in my area, give me more ranking points. But also it has to sort of work both ways, I think. Because around here, you've got like a couple of tournaments. How's someone meant to get high up in the rankings on the main leaderboard if there's like 4 events a year compared to like up north, basically, where you've got 1 every week?
Yeah, to be honest, I have no idea how it even works. I'm definitely gonna have to look into it, especially if we start getting tournaments around here and stuff. Because I think for someone like Ash, if Ash could get tournaments like that all the time, like those opportunities for him are going to be like really good. Like it's not going to make a difference to me if I go and play in loads of tournaments and stuff. But yeah, people like Ash, I think he could do really well on that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
But you've got Bridlington coming up. You're playing in that, and so Is it still just 2 tournaments, or is there 3?
So I'll be playing in 3. I'll be playing one on the Friday night, which is like...
Is that the same one we went to last year?
Yeah, so like Friday night at some little conservative club, 4 boards, 64 players. ADC affiliated, actually, talking about ADC, but I'm not a member, so I'm not going to get any ranking points for it.
Can you not just sign up?
I can, but you'll pay like 10 quid. And that's going to be
10 quid then.
Yeah, but that's like the only ADC event I'm going to play. I don't want to be like, ADC ranked 1000th because I played one event. But yeah, so I played that on the Friday night. That actually happens at the same time as the pairs that happens at the Spa, which is where the main event is. So yeah, I'm playing in that little tournament instead. So hopefully do alright in that. Last year I played in that tournament and didn't play my first game until like 11 o'clock.
I know, I was trying to film for you.
Ridiculous. I've still got all that footage actually. I might do like last year and this year comparison because I never made the video last year. But yeah, so doing that, and then Saturday is the British Classic, and then Sunday's the British Open, which are basically just 2 WDF tournaments. But there's a lot of entries this year. I think there's more than last year. There's nearly up to 400 now, which is quite good for a...
Yeah, I feel like there was maybe 280, 300 last year.
It wasn't many. But there's a lot of people sort of from Twitter that I know that are going, which is good, because otherwise I'd be by myself, basically. Gary Butcher's going, who got mentioned earlier in the episode. I saw him on the weekend. I was like, you going to Bridlington? He was like, oh, yeah. I was like, got a free weekend, so I thought I might as well do it. I was like, fair enough. He's one of those that could do all right in that.
He could win that, to be fair. Yeah, he's more than capable.
But it's one of those events where you're not really going to get events like this where you turn up. Last year I played Sean McDonald, and he played in the World Championships in April, and I played him and he beat me 3-0. And his complaint was, it's not fair that I only got to play 3 legs. And I was like, well, I didn't win a leg. He was like, no, but it should be best of 7. I was like, it's true, because if you do turn up and like you have a close game, if you lose 3-2, you've only played 5 legs. I mean, another 2 legs isn't much difference, but you'd expect to go to a big event like that and play at least a best of 7, I think, in the first round.
Yeah, I think last year it was supposed to be best of 7 from the start, but they literally changed the rules on the day, I think.
Yeah, they done a redraw last year, didn't they? Because I was meant to play someone else who was half decent, and then they were like, oh, we're going to do a redraw, and I thought, oh, thank God for that. And then I drew someone who was even better, and I was like, well, typical. But yes, a lot of people have said WDF aren't doing great, and to be honest, I'm not. I think they're slowly on their way back up, but I think it's just people in the UK, because obviously we used to have the PDO, so you used to have loads of events here, and people are like, oh, it's not the same, but at the end of the day, there's events worldwide that are doing really well, and the WDF World Championship's now more of a World Championship. I think before it used to be like, you used to get someone qualified from every county, so that's like 60 odd players, and then like you got maybe like a few others that are from the world, but other than that, it's like, yeah, I think you used to have like 6 or 7 events here. We've lost the England Open, which used to be pretty decent, but now you've got British Open, Welsh Open, Scottish Open in the UK, and the Isle of Man, but I can't remember if that's WDF or not.
I haven't got a clue.
I know they've just announced that. I know last year it wasn't WDF because they couldn't get enough prize money, but this year they're sponsored by Dart Shopper, I think, so they might give them a bit of boost and might go back to WDF, I don't know, but can't keep up nowadays with too many amateur events going on. I'll just turn up and play darts. That's all I do.
Yeah, there's so many like bodies now, isn't there?
Yeah.
Yeah, it does get a little bit complicated. But something else is coming up is, when is it? The 19th. This is like a week tomorrow, the Target launch. Is it the 19th?
Yeah, it's the 19th.
By the time this comes out, it will be like less than a week.
Yeah, a week tomorrow, yeah.
Yeah, so we're definitely going to get the Chris Dobie stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So we're going to get a shirt and a set of darts. Probably a couple of weights a set of the darts. So I think the darts will be popular. What do you reckon the price is going to be on them? Because they're not complicated, are they?
No, I thought that. When I saw like they done the preview the day before they launched, or a couple of days before they launched, they showed the dart and like the graphics, and I was a bit confused at first, and everyone was like, oh, Chris Dobie. And I was like, looks like Chris Dobie's dart. And the black, like the silhouette of the dart looked quite complicated. I was like, oh, the rear grip looks pretty complicated. And then they brought it out and it was literally just like, it's like an Adrian Lewis grip in the middle and a standard ring grip at the back. And it's like, well, that's not a Target dart at all. But I think they'll be like 50 quid.
Yeah, I reckon 50, 60 quid.
I can't remember what the dimmies are. I think they'll probably be the same as them. I think they're 50.
Yeah, potentially. Yeah, I feel like nowadays 60 quid isn't bad for a set of darts nowadays.
No, not for a professional player.
No.
Like one of their darts. I think professional player darts, you're always going to pay a bit more. Target, you're always going to pay a bit more because they're one of the bigger brands. But that's the thing. I think sometimes people expect smaller brands to be cheaper, but they can't, because they can't buy enough stuff in bulk. Obviously, we've both bought custom darts before, and the more you buy, the cheaper you get them per set. And Target can buy stuff in bulk, but they also need to charge a premium because they're best brand in the world. Well, one of the best brands in the world. Can be argued which one is the best. We might have to do that for a podcast, ranking the.
Yeah, I
know you've done that in the past, and I remembered seeing that. I was like, maybe we could do that for a podcast. So we might have to do that. And there's a couple more brands out there now as well. So.
Yeah, and that's the thing is, we if we're gonna do that, because this is what I found when I made the video on it. This is what I found was I just did a video on the best brands and ranked them, but I just picked the ones that I knew.
Yeah.
And then I had like DMs and stuff from like other brands that I'd never heard of, which I know of them now, saying why weren't we in your list? And I was like,
this was
I don't know.
Early days YouTube.
Yeah.
I think also with YouTube you kind of have to like expand your knowledge a bit.
Oh, see, I've never done that. I've never bothered.
I have, but I have like quite an obsessive like personality where I'll just get into something and be like on it. Like if you'd have asked me, in 2023, I probably started playing darts in lockdown properly. Obviously I played a bit before that, but like when I played darts before, when I was like 18, 19, if you'd have asked me to say who the top like 10 in the PDC were, I'd have probably named like Taylor, Van Gerwen, Adrian Lewis, James Wade, and I'd probably been about it. I'd have been like, don't know anymore. But now I could probably, not in order, I could probably name you the top 16 and like just know it.
Yeah.
It's just weird how like getting into YouTube is like, and also just scrolling through Twitter all the time, you just pick up bits of information that you see.
Yeah, I feel like that sort of information I got just from being a marker.
Yeah.
Like there was one point, and it lasted for maybe a couple of months, where I had marked for every single player inside the top 100 on the order of merit. I'd marked for all of them.
Yeah.
I had to wait like 2 years for Phil Taylor, so Phil Taylor took ages to cross off. And then I was waiting on someone random like Jermaine Watamina, or something like that, and nice. I was waiting for him. Just as soon as I'd done him, I'd done like the top 100, and then Corey Cadby come on the scene, and then I never marked for him, and he got tops. And I'm pretty sure it was him who ruined it for me. But yeah, you just kind of like, I think just being around that level of darts like week in week out, you just start to you do pick up on a lot of stuff. I learned so much marking.
Yeah.
There's so many little things. Talking about players not knowing who other people are. Do you see the USA darts post on Twitter of them trying to guess the players?
No. Right,
so there's this video, you have to go on it. It's on the USA darts. I can't remember what their Twitter's called. I'm pretty sure it's just USA darts. But they had all these like just at USA darts, and they were doing this video. I guess they were doing it with soft tip players. But they were doing like guess the PDC Pro, and they literally like first one they show a picture of Gary Anderson, and they've got all these American people in their dart shirts and stuff. And they're like, oh, I don't know, is it? It's not going price, is it? And you're like, oh my god, it's Gary Anderson, man. But yeah, that did make me laugh. I like what they do over there with the USA darts. I think the vlogs with Danny Baggish are so funny,
so good.
I'm a big fan of that. Like, I've done a few tweets about it, about how good it was. And now, whenever they post a new one, they just DM me and they're like, new Danny Baggish videos up.
They're so funny. And like, obviously we like spent time with him last year in Caravan at Vauxhall, which is like one of the weirdest things. Like, obviously in darts, I think people are a lot closer to pro players than what you are in like, say, football. But to like share a caravan with someone who was at the time, I think, PDC tour card holder. He was when he lost it at the end of the year.
Yeah, he was. Yeah.
PDC tour card holder, like, played all these players, played like World Series in the USA and stuff, and then just like to be around him acting like a normal bloke, it's just like very surreal for some people. I think for me, like for us too, it's probably a bit different because we've been around darts a little bit. But then like Gav, who was with us, was like,
he's lost his mind.
He'd only been into darts probably like a year, and he's like, I can't believe I'm like here with these people, and it's like, that's just sort of what darts is. Like, no one really like thinks they're bigger. Well, some people do. Some people think they're bigger than everyone else. But like, a lot of darts players are just like, they've come from the same place that we're sort of from. Like, just go to the pub and play darts. So they're just sort of still in that mentality. I think that's like always interesting. So if you ever like go to an event and see a professional darts player, don't be afraid to like say hello and think they're going to be too big to like talk to you, because they'll probably be more than welcome to like talk to you, as long as you're not pissed and like hanging
off at them like Gav was.
Yeah. But
dearie me, that was funny. Yeah. But yeah, they are just normal people. They are just very much normal people.
Yeah.
What else is happening in the world of darts at the moment, Kurt?
We had the DRA fines last week.
We did have DRA fines. That's a good idea. Let me find. Have you got them up on your phone?
No, but I can go on their website and find them.
Let's have a go. Let's just go through like the 2023 ones, the latest ones.
I know there was the main one, wasn't there, which I think was the Brad Phillips one. That was the one everyone was talking
2022.
about.
Let's go have a look through that. So this was the year of like. Was this when all the COVID ones were, or was it 2021? No, 2021 was
2021,
all the COVID ones.
Yeah.
But yeah, some of them just make me die. I thought I was going to be on this actually, but
Really?
yeah. So when I went to Q school, it was day 2. No, yeah, it was day 2, and I drink when I play darts, along with a lot of people. But it was like the morning. It was like 8 in the morning, and I'd been to Asda. I'd got like some breakfast and stuff. Come back to my hotel room, and bearing in mind Q school starts at like 10, so I've got 2 hours to have a few beers or whatever it is that I want to have, and I decided to have what was in my room, which was a bottle of vodka and some Lucozade Sports. So I was drinking vodka and Lucozade Sport. But I posted a picture on Twitter about the drink that I was drinking because I thought it was quite funny. And anyway, yeah, I had one of the officials come and grabbed me like on my way to the match as well. Like,
oh, wow.
I've just been called out. I'm walking towards to have this game. I've got like my mask on and everything because it was like proper COVID then. And yeah, I had this bloke chew my ear off for about 5 minutes while my opponent was warming up, which to be fair, I played shit, so it doesn't really make much difference. But chewed my ear off for like 5 minutes about how bad it is and how I shouldn't do that. I was like, yeah, mate, all right, whatever. And then I finished the game, and then but we had markers, so I didn't have to mark. Finished the game, sat down, put my darts in my case, and next thing is this bloke's just come and sat down next to me, and I was like, all right. And he was like, yeah, I need to talk to you about your social media behaviour. I was like, right, okay, what's the matter? He's like, oh, I've just been informed that you posted this. I was like, yeah, but I've deleted it now. And obviously, I've just lost. So I'm a bit.
To be fair, I reckon you'd have probably just got a warning because that's what half the ones on here are from what I've seen.
Yeah, oh yeah, it would have been a warning. It wouldn't have been a fine or anything. No. But some of them are just like formal warnings, whereas mine must have been an informal warning.
So one of the ones at the top of this, John Worsley and Michael Van Gerwen. Do you remember this?
That's the rat thing, wasn't it?
When Michael Van Gerwen called him a rat.
Yeah, that was hilarious. I made a video on that. That video absolutely banged.
Oh, I had at one point. So I think I had the highest checkout in like a GDL league thing. My prize was like a signed John Worsley shirt, and this was like basically when this happened. And I was like, I could probably sell this for a little bit now because he's been like outed by Michael Van Gerwen. I don't even know what happened to it. I haven't got it anymore. I don't know if I like gave it away for like a charity thing or something. I don't know who would have bid on it. Probably like $5, I reckon. Not saying John Wood, but like, you know.
You're looking at the 2021s.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that was quite
Nathan
funny.
Derry on there.
There's so many
event.
betting on darts as well.
Well, I reckon a lot of those would have been like online darts, because that's what was it. Carl McKinstry done online darts, didn't he? He was one of those.
Yeah.
And who's the other one? Wessel Nyman.
Yeah.
Who's also come back and
he's playing really well.
Been unreal. I don't know what he's been doing when he's not been playing, but he's
clearly playing, just practicing.
Yeah, playing against.
I guess he's allowed to play in anything is he Dutch?
Yeah, he'd have been allowed to play like non-PDPA events, like or darts,
which probably would have been most of the events out there.
Yeah, because they have their own things, don't they? The NDVB or something. I don't know if that's under that, but
there's also Smith Neil betting on darts.
There's a lot of betting on darts in Q school, and I wonder if they're like players who have gone to Q school, like just complete amateurs, like know they're probably not going to get through, and they have a bet on darts, but they're in their minds they think, well, I can just bet on someone else to win. But obviously, probably not knowing that if they turn up at Q school and play someone who they bet on, DRA could be like, well, you could have let him win because you've bet on him to get through. It's the same as like non-league football. Like if you play at a certain level of non-league football, even if you bet on Premier League games, you're not allowed to.
Yeah.
Because apparently you could have some sort of influence on that because you might know someone from higher up.
Yeah, we weren't supposed to. We weren't allowed to bet on darts when I was a marker. I wasn't allowed to do that. I still did, but I was told I wasn't allowed to. But yeah, like there's so many betting on darts. If anyone's watching and you're curious as to what we're on about, there's if you go onto the DRA website, you can look at all of the like the fines and the warnings and stuff that players get. and you can like go through. They've recently posted it. I've been waiting for ages to be able to look at these because they never update the website.
I always find it funny when like you see people that you know personally.
Yeah.
Like there was one on there, it's not in 2021 I don't think, but there was one on there and I was told the story of what happened and I didn't even know he got fined for it, but he got fined like 750 quid. I'm not going to name names because it's like, basically the guy was too pissed to play and he couldn't finish his game, so he got fined for it.
Yeah.
And I was told it was at Challenge Shore, I think. And I was told the story of it, but I wasn't actually aware that I suppose, you probably got to get fined if you can't finish your game. Can't get away with it.
Yeah, I mean you get fined if you don't turn up to your game. You get fined if you don't mark after you lose and stuff. Yeah, you can get fined for anything.
Yeah, and it seems to be as well, like even if you play Challenge Tour, because there was a lot of like instance on there, maybe not in that one, but other ones where it's like they find like tour card holders or like higher up players probably a bit more than like Challenge Tour players, but there's some Challenge Tour players that get fined like 750 quid for stuff that's like not outrageously bad, and it's like that's a lot of money for someone who's like who probably goes to Challenge Tour and wins like maybe 1 or 2 games.
If I got fined 750 quid while I was at a Challenge Tour event, I'd be like, nah, you're right.
I just won't play in
I'm just not paying anymore.
Yeah,
I'm not paying that. But yeah, they do get quite a lot. Like, who's the Irish guy? Carl McKinstry. Yeah. He, what was it, 7 years? He got banned for I think it was 7 because he didn't admit to it.
Yeah.
Or something, because it was the same. It was supposed to be the same fine as that Wessel guy.
Yeah.
But he ended up getting like 7 years banned for it.
Yeah, because that Wessel Nyman, like he said that he'd done it, but then he also said that he was sort of pressured into it, and then now he's agreed to do like lessons and stuff on like gambling to others, which is probably a good thing to be fair. But I think that's a good way of like basically reducing your fine and your penalty effectively. But there was that theory. I think it was the same thing, that modus icons of darts, or whatever it was called. And there was that theory that like Barney was like match fixing, wasn't there? Because he averaged like 50 something against Martin Adams, and he like lost 4-0. And there was apparently like loads of strange betting patterns on that, but nothing come of it.
No. The betting is weird. It can get proper messy. Like there was that guy, Paqueta in the football.
Yeah.
Who like 13 of his friends and family all opened a betting account on the same day and all made the same bet and it come in. It's like, you got to be stupid, didn't you, really?
Yeah. They're normally like places from like China, or I think the Netherlands was like a big one because there's a lot of players from there, and I think there was like a big group basically betting like 10 grand on like something that's nothing. Like it could be like 10 grand to like win one leg, but then like this player wins one leg. But then it's hard sometimes in darts, I think, because it's obvious to see when you're playing. It's obvious to see when you're playing badly, but to see like if 2 players play badly, it's like near impossible to like not win a leg. Like you can only throw so far away from a target before being like, well, that was a bit dodgy. Because like, alright, I'm not a professional player, but like if I'm aiming for like tops and I've already won my leg, I'm like, well, what am I meant to do? So I might snatch a dart low into tops and win 2 legs, and then the people who have said like, you need to do this, otherwise we're gonna do whatever, are like, well, I'm knackered now.
Yeah, it's especially if you're let's say you're a 70-80 average player, and then you have to lose to someone who's like a 40 average player. So it's almost hard to lose that game.
Like Barney versus Martin Adams is like different, because like Martin Adams is probably gonna play alright. Barney, you'd expect to play alright, but then he averaged like 60, and then everyone was like, oh yeah, but he's been retired, he's not played. And it's like, well, nah, he'd only been retired like 6 months. There's no way he's gone down to a 60 average by. I could probably not pick up a dart in like 6 months and still average like about like 40, I say 45, that's what I averaged last week at Super League when I was actually trying to play well. But like, I probably wouldn't drop 30 points on my average. I wouldn't go down to like a 20 average.
No, I think, to be honest, I think you can just throw all 3 darts at the same time and probably average more than 20.
Well, yeah, that's true.
Did you watch any of the seniors?
No, I didn't actually. It's one of those, I keep wanting to watch it, but then it's on like BT and I don't have BT, and then it's like, well, I try and watch highlights, but you don't really gather much insight of what happened from highlights. It's that sort of thing where like darts is either you have to be fully committed to watch a whole game, or it's one of those things you put on in the background. For me, when I watch the Worlds, I'm like pretty much fixed on it. for like the first couple of rounds, and then there'll be games where it's like, okay, this person will probably win, so I'll stick it on in the background. If something interesting starts happening, then I'll sit down and watch it. But it's like I find it difficult to watch like a whole afternoon or like evening of darts unless there's some good games on. Really difficult. I don't know if you're the same or like other people think the same, but
to be honest, I don't really watch that much darts anymore.
No, I don't.
I feel like I'm expected to watch darts because I'm like involved in it and stuff, but I just don't really watch anything. The only thing I really watch is the UK Open.
Yeah,
that's like my favourite tournament, and
yeah, I probably
it's just because you get
game.
all of the UK Open qualifiers. You go and play in it, and it's like exciting for a few rounds. And someone might get a little bit further than they expected to get. And yeah. What about? Did you watch any of the darts of the weekend, or do you follow along with any of the results?
I watched a bit of it. My main thing from the weekend, obviously, I was at a tournament on Saturday, so I didn't see any of it on there. But I watched all the highlights, and like my thing was like, obviously, I do my podcast talking about like darts equipment and stuff, and everyone was tagging me in like all these people using new darts. I'm like, why are so many people using new darts all of a sudden? Stephen Bunting's gone from 12 grams to 18 grams, made the final.
Really?
Yeah.
Because I didn't watch any of it, but I followed along on the results, so I didn't get to see any of the new darts or anything.
No, yeah.
Is it the same barrel, just bigger?
I mean, so it was like straight away you could tell it was a heavier dart just by the way it was sort of flying through the air, and also it was bigger. It doesn't have any red paint on it, but it's one of those where like, because it's all silver, like tungsten, you can't quite see what everything is, but it looks like the same barrel, it just hasn't got any red paint. Cameron Menzies been using new darts, and he's been playing pretty well.
Yeah, I saw he had like 300 plus averages in a row at the weekend.
Yeah, the pro tour during the week. Yeah, he played really well. I think he beat Peter Wright, didn't he? I know Peter Wright's not playing well, but it was another one. I think Peter Wright made the semi-finals of Pro Tour, didn't he, the week before? I think as well.
Yeah.
Also,
who did he lose to?
At the weekend, I think Peter Wright lost his luggage. Was using a set of his own darts that was like given to him by like a PDC staff member. Had to go to the merchandise stand to get a snakebite shirt, and he had to buy some trousers from like some shop because all of his luggage got lost.
Really?
Yeah.
You do see that happen quite a lot, actually.
It's happened quite a lot this year. I don't know why. That's the thing. I know Stephen Bunting, I think he tweeted saying his darts were in like his manager's car or something. His manager was driving to Germany and he was getting a flight, so he knew he wouldn't lose his luggage, which is smart, but also I feel sorry for the manager who's had to drive all that way just to make sure his player gets his darts.
Yeah, that is a long way to go.
But then also, like say, if he's using new darts and they're 18 grams and they're the only ones that have been made, then you can't really afford to lose them. I mean, you can, because you probably
just use something else for a little
and,
while.
I mean, Peter Wright's the same. Like, I'm surprised he actually went and found someone with his own darts. He could have just picked up anything and probably done all right.
Yeah, he could have gone and probably bought some brass darts and probably thrown them really well.
Yeah.
To be fair. Oh, I think we'll end it there, Kurt.
Yeah.
If you did enjoy, leave us a thumbs up. That'd be terrific. If you want to go and have a look at Kurt's stuff, I'll leave on all of the information in the description. And yeah. See you next. See you. I don't know when we're going to do this. I'm going to try and do it Mondays and Thursdays.
Cool.
So this should be up on a Thursday. We'll see you on Monday.
Yep. See you on Monday.
Potentially. See ya.
Bye.